It's snowing where you are, huh?
It is. It's about what, 9:30 here on the East Coast that night. And it started maybe around 6 o'clock. And we
Okay.
have a good 6 inches outside. Pretty this apparently they're saying this is the biggest snowstorm since I don't know, 5 years ago.
Okay.
So
Well,
that's exciting.
Yes, exciting, and it's a very appropriate night to have our holiday special.
Yes, a holiday special.
PaintCast. So special. The photo that you gave me to work from, super special.
Yep, super special. This was a tree in my home a couple of years ago, and I was traveling, and I came home, said, "Yeah, I better get a tree," and then I didn't feel like taking out any of my decorations. And I worked for a Christmas company for 15 years, and I don't have much stuff from there, but I have tinsels and stars and things, and I just didn't feel like dealing with it. So I bought, those are lobster lights on there that I had.
Yeah, I'm not including the lobster light. I'm doing some heavy editing.
Yeah, I'm doing, well, that's
Just so
why I
you
picked
know.
it. I picked it so we can heavy edit. Heavy editing is good. Heavy editing is what I do anyway when I'm outside. I mean,
Picked it
like
just to mess with me.
just to mess with. Yeah, that's because last time you picked the one paint. I gave you a bunch of images to paint, and you picked the one I did not want to paint. So,
well,
I gave you three bad ones this time to choose from.
Thanks.
You're anything for you, Chris.
Ugh.
So you got your eggnog out? I got my eggnog out.
No, of course not. I am not a Christmas guy.
I know you aren't. I got voted in 8th grade most festive.
Don't ever tell anyone that again. That is not something you make public.
Does that not surprise you? You know me for like 20 something years.
Yeah, you're festive, but I wouldn't go around touting that as a point of pride.
Please. I mean, when I get juried into a plein air event and I get that acceptance notice, the first thing is, where am I going and how festive can I be? Like, if I'm on the beach someplace or shoreline, I need like fish and lobsters, and I need to wear some kind of festive adornment.
Ugh, that's terrible.
It's great.
Christmas has always been my least favorite holiday, I believe. I think I heard either George Carlin or Jerry Seinfeld use the premise that all holidays are the same. That essentially someone tells you, here, wear this, go here with these people, and eat and drink this. That's the structure for all the different holidays. And then you just choose which funny outfit and situation you like the best. And for me, when I thought about that, it was definitely like Halloween.
You don't like Halloween, or you
No, I do. I'd say Halloween is probably my favorite holiday.
Oh, is that why you were I think you organized our Halloween party at Lime Academy.
Probably. You'd have to check the photos.
We made I remember specifically making a piñata at your house.
Out of what?
I don't remember, but I just remember some piñata that resembled a ghost but wasn't really a ghost, and we had it outside.
At that farmhouse I used to live in?
Yes.
Oh, dear.
Yes. You always had good Halloween costumes, though.
Yeah, well, because I mean, I don't mind dressing up like that. I just don't like the holiday sweaters, and I don't like it being cold outside and having to warm up.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather it either be like just cool outside and nobody cares, or be warm and then go into air conditioning or something like that. I'm not really into the sensation of having to warm up.
Yeah, but I mean, where are you going to be for Christmas this year? You're going to be in Florida. You're in Florida.
Florida, yeah. Well, of course, that's my hang up. And I just thought that it was the best time to bring up those kind of things is right now when we're painting your old Christmas tree.
Yeah, I'm here with the snowstorm of the century, and you're there with palm trees. Although I saw on the news today that there was I had the Weather Channel on, and there was, you had tornadoes down your way, or tornado warnings, but I don't exactly know if you were near that or not.
I'm not sure. Um, I don't think so. I think I would have noticed a tornado.
Yeah.
So
I didn't say there were you got tornadoes. I'm just saying, I was like, oh, tornado warnings in Florida, and we're getting snow. Probably part of the storm system. I don't know. But it's awfully pretty outside. I mean, it really is. It's nice to. I mean, you're from New England,
yeah,
how nice it is.
I can't concentrate on this conversation because I still can't get over the fact that you're drinking eggnog.
Oh yes, eggnog. You want to see in a festive cup.
I didn't think.
You see it?
Oh, please.
Most festive, 8th grade.
Who drinks eggnog? I mean, maybe I would if I didn't care about
8 million calories.
Pants. Yeah.
I put it in my coffee in the morning.
Seriously?
Well, that's after I have like a couple cups of coffee, and then I finish it off with some eggnog in my coffee.
I'm that guy who puts the MCT oil and the chaga mushroom powder in my black coffee.
I have no idea what that is.
It's pretty special. That's all you need to know.
Does Becky make it?
No, I make it.
Huh. You'll have to treat me to that next time I see you.
Yeah. Well.
So what were your
You asked for it.
So did you do like family tradition? Do you have family traditions that your parents did for Christmas? Since this is our Christmas special, we need to talk about Christmas stuff.
Well, let me just say here, I'm blocking in everything, and it actually looks okay right now with some of the pink coming through.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I have the start of a glow. I'm not going to put in the ornaments. I think I'm going to concentrate on making the lights and making kind of the light really bright and getting some of the light in the shadow. So I think that's what I'm going to do like over the next 45 minutes or so while we're shooting the shit about other things. What are you doing?
I don't really know what I'm doing.
Because I mean, yours definitely has a piney feel to it.
Well, I'm trying to.
I've definitely made mine more of a spruce right off the bat.
Well, first of all, let me just tell you how I deal with a Christmas tree. I like a Charlie Brown tree. So I like it bare. So what I do is if I go to, I've never chopped down my own tree, but if I go to like the fire department up the street and they're selling trees, I go in and I go, I want the barest tree you got. And they kind of look at me like, I'm crazy. And then when they give me the tree, the barest tree they have, I proceed to take it home, put it in the stand, put it in the yard, and cut off 90% of the branches that are on it. So that's how I deal with the Christmas tree. And so I like to
basically what you want is people's old dead Christmas trees from last year.
Yeah, the ones that are at the street. Like when you're driving New Year's Day and everyone's put their, you know, the people who are organized put their tree to the street. Those are the trees I want.
Wow.
Yeah. It's
So,
it's an art to find a good tree or to cut your branches off like that.
yeah.
And then I take those branches and I'll put them in the planters or something. I don't know. And you'd be surprised how long they last. So it's a dual purpose.
Mm-hmm.
You buy your tree and then you make your outdoor decorations from the branches. But yeah, that's how I like to deal with my Christmas trees. So this was one of these trees that I think I got it at the fire department, and which is right up the street, so I can like walk it home like city style.
Mm-hmm.
um, and then this one I didn't have, like I said, I didn't feel like getting out, all the vintage ornaments from my grandmother and all the stuff I've collected. And I think I just went to Pier 1 Imports and bought starfish garland and starfish tree topper, or I made that somehow.
As a side note, does Pier 1 still exist?
No, they are online only, I guess.
Okay.
I got a lot of stuff from there. Their furniture is way too expensive, if you ask me, for what it is, but
Noted.
noted. Yeah, so that's what this picture is. I have, like, in the years past, I put on those bubble lights,
Yeah.
which are a pain in the neck to put on because they have these little clips and they always fall. And as your tree dries out, they fall. So that's always and if you've worked for a Christmas company and you're really particular about wiring things on your tree and stuff like that, it's nothing but a nuisance. And they look real cool, but they just, they're a pain in the neck to deal with. So this is my living room. This is a photo from my living room. And
Okay. Yeah, I'm doing my best to omit the, looks like a tchotchke bureau, like a glassed-in tchotchke bureau behind.
yeah, that has my maybe
And
I'll
there's
put,
part of a frame in the
yeah,
picture.
that's a vintage that's a vintage postcard from Maine with a lobster. And then
Mm-hmm.
I collect green depression glass, so there's depression glass in there. And then I don't know, that's one of my grandmother's Virgin Marys on the bottom, and there's an angel, and yeah. That's I've since actually put lighter paper, almost like in the background of that cabinet, so you could see the glass, which would have been cool. Try to picture that. Maybe next year for our Christmas special.
Wait,
We're
we're
doing
doing this
another one?
again?
What?
What?
Yeah, so I figured let's try to do some kind of interior thing, which I don't normally do. You paint interiors?
I really like painting really dark interiors
Yeah,
with
me too.
very little light, but I I feel like the only reference I ever want to use is from movies, and I just
Mm-hmm.
have to figure out what movies I want to do a painting from. Maybe um, I kind of thought perhaps I would try some of that next year.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, but I don't like bright interiors.
What about
Um,
painting in your camper? I'm sorry, the coach. You call it the coach, right?
I don't really want to paint the coach because it's such, there's so much constant stuff unless we are somewhere for a while. If
Mm-hmm.
we're in transit, And if we're only staying somewhere for maybe a few days, like there'll just be storage all up front, and we'll have to constantly keep moving things around in order to make room for other uh for like sitting and
Hmm.
eating. And then I'm trying to juggle my paint, and Enid has some Barbies and Legos around, so and then that dog and dog toys now. It's
Yeah, how's your dog?
absolutely crazy. I don't know. She's a little over 6 months. She's a puppy. Um, she has a lot of energy. She has a lot of poop. There's always
Every time I wind up calling you, you're walking the dog.
something coming out of her bottom.
How is it cramped now with the dog in there?
No,
No.
no. We we have room.
I
Uh,
mean, is the dog active, like running around in there and jumping on furniture and
she knows enough that if she starts to get zoomies inside, and if she starts to go really crazy, then she's going to get in trouble now. So it's not quite like um, 1 or 2 months ago when she just kind of uh, would go crazy and kind of run into walls and pull up all of our rugs when she
oh
was
my goodness.
while she was jumping around. Yeah, but yeah, it seemed like she had fun, so just kept letting her do it.
So you like having the dog?
Uh, yeah. I wake up pretty early, so that works out. And I wake up, I bring her for a walk, um, and I don't know. She's getting up earlier and earlier, so now it's like I get up when it's still dark out, like 5:30,
Mm-hmm.
and we go for a walk. She does her ultra important dog business, and then I've been able to get some
Ultra
really
important dog business.
well. I've been able to get some really incredible sunrise photos, and I've started two pieces plein air when the sun has come up, um, but um, I stopped and just took photos and went back to it later.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it was just too much. The two times I tried to do a sunrise, I got the gist of it down, so I was able to do maybe 20 minutes worth. But then the bugs around here, after it gets light, but before the sun actually comes up,
Mm-hmm.
where we were staying a few weeks ago, it was pretty intense. So
What kind of bugs? Like flies or
um,
mosquitoes?
yeah, like mosquitoes and the biting gnats and stuff.
Yeah, we don't have a bug problem here right now. It's cold enough where the bugs are gone.
Oh, how
We have,
lucky for you.
yeah.
I try to keep Christmas traditions to a minimum. I mean,
So what I asked you before, what when we got off topic, what is your like what kind of traditions did you have when you were a kid?
well, they were basically, you know, I think my father was enthusiastic about Christmas more than other holidays. I think maybe when I was younger, it was okay. But after that Christmas where I got the original Game Boy,
Mm-hmm.
it was like maybe 89 or 90, that handheld thing.
Yeah.
That was pretty much the pinnacle. So the holiday couldn't get any better after that. And then I thought once Nora was born, that first Christmas would be great and would make me enjoy the holiday more, and it just didn't.
Why is that? Were you traveling when you had Nora? I don't remember.
No,
No, you weren't.
no, we lived in Rhode Island.
That's right. I went to the baby shower. Remember, I
Yes.
stayed. That's right. I came up and stayed with you, and it was hot. I remember Becky was pregnant. We went to, I think you were working, and we went to the beach, and it was so hot. When did you start traveling? I forget when you started traveling.
2008, 2009, somewhere around there.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so been at it for over a decade now, which is interesting.
That's crazy. Your painting's looking good. Mine's looking hot mess right now.
Well, you're still in a very early kind of scrubbish.
I'm in the ugly
phase.
phase.
I
You also
decided
paint
that
a lot faster than me.
I don't know whether it's a matter of being quick or reckless with me. I think if I have all the tools in front of me that I need, I go pretty fast. It depends. If I'm outside working, I somehow I go slower than when I'm inside.
If you're outside.
Yeah.
See, now I could paint faster outside than inside.
Nope. I I just I get in. I've gotten into a groove recently where I have uh, set up one screen so that I watch old Magnum PI reruns, and then I have another screen where I have uh, multiple reference photos that I can look at, and then I have my little mini setup that I used to take to Starbucks with me, and yeah, I work really fast when nobody is around now. Ever since the pandemic, um, I thought it was going to be harder to not work with an audience,
Mm-hmm.
but it turns out that it's not.
With an audience, meaning like at Starbucks.
Yeah, because before it was like I kind of got into my groove when there were eyes on me.
Yeah.
And then I wasn't really on if no one was kind of watching me work.
Mm-hmm.
And I got over that pretty quick when I couldn't go out anymore. Now I think I've just sort of kicked it.
And now it's really interesting to because I'm usually on the road all summer, and I'm like plein air painting, for a week straight, all day, all night. And then usually this is the time of year I'm kind of home and in the studio doing work, and it's been really like I haven't been getting out painting as much. I've just been busy with other paintings here in the studio, so it's been weird not having that yin and yang kind of
Mm-hmm.
stuff going on, and it's definitely affected how I work and what I paint and how fast I paint. And it's like refreshing to get back outside and do some plein air work. But I definitely figured out I don't want to be a complete studio artist. Like that's all I do. I really need the practice of getting out there and painting. It is. It's a studio artist. It's you hate Chris, you hate the proper terminology. You'll never
for everything.
I like, I mean, I got to get outside. I can't be inside painting all the time. I can't be studio painting all the time, Chris. I can't be a studio painter. I don't want to work on things from photographs and from my head and from, I need to get outside.
Well, I often work outside. I'm just not really concerned with what's around me.
You're also like in nice weather. You know, it's like a
it's a perk.
It is a Olympic sport to go out there with the clothing, the layers, the not knowing what in the cold, you know, like at least in the summer, I can, you know, I know it's going to be warm, or, you know, I know kind of what the temperature is going to be, but like to go out there and you got to have the gloves, you got to have the boots, you got to have because if you're not comfortable, it's miserable. So it's like a whole other thing. It's like, oh, I got to wear, you know, but I do have a snowsuit now and I have not tried it out yet.
I would not mind working in the cold weather. I think what I would mind is being in the heat with the bugs. I don't think that would work out well for me.
What, in the cold or the heat with the bugs?
The heat with the bugs. I mean, I think I could go out and get plenty done during like a winter or autumn event if there's stuff flying in my face, because I'm not going to wear one of those floppy hats.
Those floppy hat.
Floppy sun hats that you see people on the side of the road wear when they have.
I do not wear one of those.
They're painting. You had better not.
It'll mess up my hair, Chris. I don't like that. I'll wear like a baseball hat.
Ugh.
I don't even like that. I don't like painting on sunny days either. Like I don't like. I really need the overcast days.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really like painting. Like if I'm at an event and it's sunny, bright blue skies every single day of the week, I'm just sometimes at the end of the week I'm like, why did I hate everything I've painted? And it's usually because I'm like, oh, because it was so sunny. Yours looks so nice and glowy.
Well, because I did that thing where I put the darker, more intense halo color to the light.
Mm-hmm.
And then I added some white to the next color. Like I haven't even been clever about it. I haven't like used a green and white highlight inside of a red light, or yellow inside of a green one yet. Like I haven't gotten to that phase yet. I don't know if I can.
You can.
I think basically I just associate the holidays with overeating and with being like really full to the point where I want to throw up.
What about, okay, here's another topic. Like, what about, you got to have like a favorite Christmas special?
Oh,
like, isn't there some kind of Star Wars crazy?
Becky was just asking me about that, and I like anything that has Burl Ives songs in it, like the old fashioned Burl Ives Christmas music.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like that. I like the holiday carol music before 1960-ish, and then after that, It just sort of trails off for me. However, I will say this, Krista. I don't know if you've ever heard the Robert Goulet Christmas album.
No.
My mother used to play that. That was her favorite, like, old record to play this time of the year.
Uh-huh.
And drove me crazy when I was a kid. But now, when I listen to it, like,
It's
I know,
nostalgic.
it's nostalgic because I just know all the songs. Like, I don't even know how I know them, but I pick up on all of his little theatrical runs, and because I think he was like, I think he was a theatrical singer
There
before he
was a
became
commercial with him, and
a
I can't
pop
remember
guy.
the commercial. There was a commercial that was very funny with him in it a couple of years ago, and I can't remember what the commercial was for.
Well, I believe he passed like in the mid 2000s, so it must have been like in the 90s or early 2000s. Oh, I just moved my camera. When they came out with that, but
See, so that's something you have you have nostalgic memories.
it's also, if you take it just on face value, it's
Uh-huh.
a terrible Christmas album. Absolutely ridiculous. And yeah, so
I like
you
Neil Diamond's Christmas.
I don't think I've ever heard a Neil Diamond Christmas, but I think I'd probably like that.
Well, I love Neil Diamond.
I just kind of refer to the Burl Ives album.
There was one year my father played obsessively just to really annoy my mother, Dominic the Donkey, over and over and over and over again. And he played the video.
Dominic the Donkey?
You don't know that Christmas song?
No, not off the top of my head.
Well, if anybody's watching this.
So that's one of the ones I have to.
Oh yeah, because once you see it, you're gonna laugh because you knew my father.
Okay. Dominic the Christmas Donkey.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Actually, I recently watched that movie with Drew Barrymore, Driving in Cars with Boys. I think it's called, which was a great movie. Have you seen it? Yeah, have you seen it? Oh, it was so good, and it's from early 2000s, I think. And it is fantastic. It's kind of a sad story, but it's humorous at the same time. And right in the beginning, the guy is singing. It's one of the guys who was in The Sopranos. I can't remember the actor's name right now, but he's singing Dominic the Donkey, and it's very funny. It's been on like Stars or something recently, and they filmed it. And then I'm like watching it. I'm like, that looks like Rockland County, New York. And sure enough, they had filmed it all over here. And it looks like, I think it's supposed to be New England. But yeah, it was actually a really good. You know who's in it? I can't remember her name. She was in Clueless. The actress who died. I can't remember her name.
Brittany Murphy.
Brittany Murphy was in it, yes. And it was a great movie. She was great in it. But yeah, he sings Dominic the Donkey. But my favorite Christmas special is Pee-wee's Christmas Special.
Really?
Have you seen it?
Probably.
Oh, it's great.
Like a Pee Wee Herman Christmas special, I probably watch over most of the other ones.
Oh, it's so good.
Well, I mean, is it back from Pee Wee's Playhouse days?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's like Pee Wee's Playhouse, but he did a Christmas special.
Okay.
Yeah, but you know me, I'm a huge Pee Wee Herman fan, so. But he's got like, he's got all these famous stars on there that make cameos. You know, Little Richard is on there. Snow. What do you call it? Ice skating, and they sing, and it's a music. It's kind of like a musical. It's very
Have you
musical.
ever tried to meet Paul Rubens?
I saw him on Broadway
You did?
about less than 10 years ago.
Okay.
And it was great. And I saw him, I was probably standing about, it was freezing out. I went with my brother Michael, and it was freezing out. And I told him, I was in Manhattan, and I told him, I'm like, I will stand by this door until he comes out. If you want to go wait in the car, go ahead. And my brother is a Paul Rubens fan too. So he was down for it. And he came out in a overcoat, like a winter overcoat that matched his outfit, you know, the gray suit with the bow tie.
Yeah.
And little white earmuffs and white gloves. And he came out with a megaphone and just like, you know, he's 2 feet from us, but he stayed in character the whole time. And it was great. It was really, he came out and talked to us all, and it was really pretty funny. Kind of heckled everyone, which is what, you know, he's like, his character, what's so great about his character is he's kind of mean, you know, and selfish.
Yeah.
And, you know, he stayed in character, but then he kind of got out of character for a few minutes and said, you know, thank you all for following me all these years. I appreciate it. And this and that. He was just really, it was a good show. It definitely you know, you kind of look around the audience and you're like, this is definitely a cult following. You know, everybody had a certain look to them. You know? Even Michael, I mean, you know my brother too. My brother's like, everyone kind of looks like us. Like, yeah. But he put on a great show.
Huh.
And I think they ran the special on, actually he started it in LA, and you know, it was going to only have a run out there in LA with this show, but it was so popular and it was sold out so quickly, and like all these celebrities were going and everything. They wound up giving it a try in Manhattan, and it was the same thing, sold out.
Really?
Yeah. And the storyline was great. It was kind of like his comeback, and it was kind of loosely based off some of his legal issues, like it's very underhanded. It was very, very, very funny.
Well, now I'm gonna have to watch that.
Yeah.
I got used to watching that Danny Kaye, Bing Crosby movie, White Christmas, every year. My father used to watch that, and that was, I think, his favorite, besides, you know, the Albert Finney version of Scrooge.
Mm-hmm.
I think he used to like White Christmas because I always saw him watching it every time I went home, and I never actually saw it. Like I never actually watched it with him ever.
Mm-hmm.
And then after he passed, I decided I would give it a try. And now I just sort of watch it every holiday. And I watch it to see what new things I notice. Because it was like, when was that movie shot? Probably 53 or 54.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been around a long time. And the very first time I saw it, I couldn't watch the whole thing. Like I couldn't get through it. I think it's a little over 2 hours, and some parts are just so slow,
Mm-hmm.
and they do not appeal to um, maybe someone who grew up in the 80s and 90s with a lot of the action movie pacing
Mm-hmm.
that came about then. Um, but I've gotten used to that pacing, and I think I've been willing to sit through that because I never had patience to watch any classic movies ever. I didn't like the aesthetic of the black and white.
Mm-hmm.
I could not get behind some of the dialogue and the dialogue pacing. So I just always wrote them off. Excuse me, I'm yawning. And
Yeah.
now I think from watching that, just kind of automatically, along with the Albert Finney version of Scrooge, every year has sort of made me more willing to look at older cinema and even go back and view some golden age stuff. Like a few years back, actually sat through the entirety of Metropolis.
I've
And
never seen that.
I've watched a few Chaplin movies now, and I think I can appreciate them more because I just sort of made myself watch the other one. So
I don't know if I've ever gotten through the whole White Christmas.
There is a really weird section in the middle. It's funny to my sensibilities because I would never place like a more modern dance rehearsal piece without the main characters in the movie where they did.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always like one of the longest scenes. I know that it's supposed to be an establishing one for the relationship between um, the other characters. Besides, like I only remember basically Rosemary Clooney and Bing Crosby's character's relationship.
Girls watched any of those movies or no?
I've tried to um, kind of expose them to something more than just Christmas cartoons.
Mm-hmm.
That they're not really into it though. I think it's something that they're going to have to sort of initiate on their own, or else I'm going to feel sort of like I'm forcing it upon them, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I know that they've seen all the classic, like Rudolph and what's the other one? Frosty with the magic hat and the bullshit magician in the
Yeah.
greenhouse.
We used to watch that all the time.
Oh, it's terrible.
Do they like any of them, or they?
I'm sure that they like them enough. And just the other night, I watched a Charlie Brown Christmas with Enid, who is 8 now.
I can't
And
believe she's 8.
yeah,
Crazy.
I can't believe it either. She actually sat through it and thought some of it was funny. And like the dog and
like Snoopy.
Snoopy, yeah. And she had some really interesting questions about the dog and about um, the kid's situation and
Yeah, it's kind of deep.
why they would just be kind of organizing like a Christmas play by themselves, and why Linus would kind of go off um, on his little diatribe towards the end.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it was all over, she said, "Oh, that was cute." And I explained to her when it for because it came out in the '60s, so I let her know how long ago that was, and yeah, she just seemed unimpressed and thought that Snoopy was interested, and
unimpressed.
Yeah, oh, that's cute, Dad. You know.
So how about like, I'm sure they like modern things like Elf.
Yes, I believe that Elf is the only Christmas movie we own. I had Christmas Vacation on VHS tape, and I had that in college, and I think that's one of the many VHS tapes that I just threw away when I moved out of one of the places I lived. I think I threw out like a whole box of cassettes and videotapes.
There was a purging. I remember a purging.
Well, and not only once, like a few different times, because I just couldn't I just couldn't deal with all the stuff. So yeah, I haven't seen the Chevy Chase Christmas Vacation one probably at least in 20 years. Did you ever see that one?
Oh yeah, of course. And my father wasn't into, like, my father liked to watch sports. Like, he didn't watch movies, but that was one of the ones that he really liked. He laughed, like when the squirrel comes out of the tree. He thought
Oh
that was
yeah,
the
yeah.
funniest thing. Like, he liked that, and he liked I'm a John Belushi fan because my father was a huge John Belushi fan, and he liked the Blues Brothers, which is still probably one of my top favorite movies.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen that? Not
Oh yeah.
Christmas, but I mean, that movie still is probably one of my um favorite movies that, whenever it's on. I mean, then there's not a bad scene in it. Like, the whole thing is it's just funny and well done. And um what's and the other thing was, he always, everything was censored, like, oh, this isn't for kids. So like, so no cursing, no this and that. So I grew up watching the one that he had taped from TV, like when it was on channel 11, or something, like, like one of the regular channels. So there was no cursing, and they cut out any kind of nudity in anything, which I don't know if there is nudity in the Blues Brothers, but he
So
cut out
lame.
anything like that. And I remember being like in high school, I mean, in like college or something, and seeing it and being like, what? This is so much funnier. Like, it's so
Yeah.
much funnier with uncensored. Like, things like make more sense
Oh,
now.
they really, really tended to highly anesthetize all the really good movies to get them on TV and to get them past, you know,
Uh-huh.
standards and practices.
And there's really not that much that was needed to be censored, but just some of the language and stuff. But it was like necessary for it to make
Yeah, but
sense.
when you're cutting like sometimes a full 25 minutes to half hour out of a movie
Yep.
and replacing it with gum and shampoo commercials,
Yep.
that stays with you. And then you see it years later, the actual version. And yeah, every single time that's happened with me, I felt kind of cheated.
Yeah, I totally felt cheated all these years. And it's something like, I knew the movie. I still know the movie by heart. I mean, I can say every single line in the movie, and then it's like, what? Like, I don't know a line in this movie. But he watched, like, that was one of the movies he did like, was um uh Christmas Vacation. And it's still fun. I mean, it's still funny. Did your girls watch that?
I don't think they've seen that. No.
Do you think they would like it?
Probably. Not quite sure. Um, I know that my older daughter, Nora, would probably be more apt to be able to sit through the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think besides White Christmas, I haven't really seen a lot of Christmas movies, probably in over a decade. I'm just too busy to watch them.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't watch. I mean, I can't think of any other ones I really like. I mean,
Yeah.
there's movies that I like that have Christmas in them, but not. I mean, Home Alone. That's good. That's Christmas. I don't know if your girl's seen that.
Once again, not sure. Think they might have, but I can't be 100% that they've both seen it. Oh.
So what are you doing? What are you doing this Christmas?
I'm going to be trying real hard to avoid doing anything traditional. Yeah, I don't know what we're doing for New Year's Eve. Or I'm sorry, for Christmas Eve. I'm pretty sure we have plans for Christmas Day. So
where are you going to be?
I'll probably just go. I'll probably just go to the beach. Yeah.
Well, that's not a bad way to spend Christmas. I'm using a small brush here, and I normally don't like to do this.
I'm using the little brush I just bought to replace my old signature brush, which is this one right here. Ooh. Which is what is it? It's an 18-0.
18.
Yeah, it's an 18-0 liner brush. And that is what I've been signing some of my paintings with lately. I got that out. And I've been using a couple of little, what was it? I think a 4 and a 6 filbert for the other two brushes I've used this evening. And then I have a 4 bright. And I have my oak blade 304 stainless.
I have not. Well, I have an oak blade that we traded. You and I traded, but I need to get myself a little oak blade.
Yeah, well,
I really want. I want an oak blade like this size.
I think he's super swamped with orders.
I know. I messaged him before, and I think maybe even
everybody wants this stuff because it just works so well. So I think he's backed up. I mean, if you order now, you might get it by like April.
No, I had messaged him, I think, like after you had you did an interview with him.
Yeah, right.
A podcast with him. And I had listened to him, and I had been following him for quite some time anyway, but I think I had messaged him and said, I can't find one I like that's small enough but not too small. And he's like, oh, we'll figure something out. And then I just got busy or something. But then every time he comes through with new ones online, I'm like, through my feed, I'm like, I really need to get one from him.
Here we go. I'm just gonna up and sign mine.
You are? I'm not done with mine yet.
L. Let's see if I remember my last name. So, and oh, good enough. So that's my little Christmas tree painting, and yours is coming along. How much more time do you're doing a 3x5, right?
Yeah, it's about a 3x5.
I'm doing a 6x6, so I guess you'll just finish that one up, and
yeah,
we're gonna be
tonight, maybe tomorrow. So I'm gonna work through it tonight. I think I'll finish it tonight and be done. This is fun because I've always wanted to paint my Christmas tree, but never have. So I don't think it's as terrible as I thought it would be, but
bugs are landing.
Bugs?
Yeah. Yep.
And we are, and you're done with yours? Yours looks
Well,
good.
I just had to touch up 2 spots because bugs landed on them, but yeah. Well, thank you. Mine's kind of like a drab golden glory, and I like the format that you have. I think I would have probably done a 3x5 or a 5x7.
What are you? You're a 6x6 there?
Yeah.
You're square.
Well,
it's funny because they look oddly similar, but not really.
Yeah. It's been really fun talking about Christmas media with you.
Yeah.
Crista.
Well, it's been fun talking Christmas. You still never told me your traditions growing up.
But... Oh, my traditions were dressing up in some kind of formal holiday wear, and used to have to see all of the old people that I saw on every other holiday. And
what about church?
I think I blocked all that out. I just remember getting some stuff, and yeah.
Well,
yeah. Those are the kind of memories I'm passing along. Getting stuff.
That's what you're passing along to your girls, huh?
You know what that reminds me of? There's a scene in Scrooged where
that's another good. That's a good Christmas movie.
Where young Bill Murray's father comes in and gives him 5 pounds of veal.
Yeah.
Goes, here's your Christmas present. It's 5 pounds of top quality veal.
That movie is very funny. That's one of the ones that they put on all year round too. Like I'll be like flipping channels and I'm like, Scrooged. What's Scrooge doing on in like, May? It's very funny, that movie.
Tell people where they can find you, Crista.
Crista, Crista _ Pisano, Pisano _ art. And on Instagram, CristaPisano.com, on my website, which is extremely outdated, and I need to, it's definitely hurting me, that website. I need to update that. But, and then Facebook, you can find me, Crista Pisano. But I'm mostly on Instagram these days. It's all I can handle.
That's all I can handle.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
Have a good one.
You too. Thank you, Chris.